Hello students, this is your course on content marketing. In this video on measuring content marketing performance, we are going to talk about bounce rate. Bounce rate is yet another key performance indicator or a measurement metric which is used for tracking the number of users who visit your website and leave almost immediately after viewing the landing page or any other page which they were organically directed to. So, this becomes a metric that can indicate whether your content quality is good or not. Is it poor? Because if it is poor, that is something that could be causing the bounce or a high bounce rate. Then it also judges the UX and UI of your website. It also measures if there is an expectation mismatch due to irrelevant content and the content that you're using to promote your website or even your social media properties. Is it giving the right message to your target customer and setting the right expectation so that when they're arriving on the website, are they seeing that connect? Are they seeing the same kind of value which they expected by looking at your promotional content? Are they receiving that value on your website or not? So it's definitely something which you want to lower. You don't want a high bounce rate, you want to lower it as much as possible. And to do that, you need to understand the underlying factor which could be causing it. So essentially, bounce rate is a symptom, and the underlying disease is something which you have to identify by reviewing your content and improving your content repeatedly. And when I'm saying content, I also mean the representation of content, because the user experience and user interface, the design, the look, the attractiveness of your website also matters a lot along with what's written in it. The ultimate value proposition that you're giving in terms of value adding content resources, the search query related content which you're providing on your website, on your homepage, on your product pages, matters to the customers as well as to search engines. And therefore, websites that have high bounce rate, have low CTR expectancy, it affects your subsequent ad campaigns also. Now, here's an estimated average bounce rate which is considered as a norm for specific industries. For instance, if you're a retail site, then a 20 to 40% bounce rate is considered as normal, because very often customers may simply come up on the page, look at the product, may get discouraged by the price, or may get the idea that this is not the product for them and simply leave from that page. So 20 to 40% bounce is quite normal, and it does happen for retail sites very frequently. But when you compare it to simple landing pages that have no clear call to action, such as add to cart or get started here or subscribe now, with or maybe just one call to action which is not giving additional information to the customer, it's possible that your website can experience 70 to 90% bounce. And therefore, in previous videos, we discussed in detail why landing pages are important type of content and have to be designed carefully, keeping some standard templates in mind. Then with portals like MSN, Yahoo Groups, where a lot of concentrated information can be available on the same page and a lot of links can be available on the same page, the bounce rate is generally low, between 10 to 30%. Same is the case with service sites that have frequently asked questions or a list of information available on the same page, because from the page that the customer lands on, they can find something of interest, they can find something of relevance connected to what they were searching for, and therefore may be motivated to stay on the site and explore other pages. This reduces the chances of a bounce being captured, and therefore these kind of websites naturally have a low bounce. So if you are a content marketer working for this kind of platforms, then 10 to 30% is what is normal for you, and you should be trying to drive it towards the lower end, of course. For content websites that are actually looking to provide value in terms of content only, the chances of bounce increase, especially if the customer lands there expecting something else, and finally, when they're there, the content doesn't seem relevant, and their search query and the matching of the content was actually incorrect, and therefore, to some extent, to blame is the search engine. To some extent, your own tags and your own keywords which you have used could be the culprit here. But the point is that such kind of websites can experience 40 to 60% bounce. And even if a normal website has a resource section, your resource pages can actually have very high bounce compared to your product page or your company homepage or about page. Similarly, lead generation pages, services for sale that are giving services for sale can have as much as 50% bounce rate, because customers who are coming there definitely can see the descriptive text in the search engine result or on the social media prompts, and therefore they come in with a conscious mindset, but still when they land up on the page, it's possible that the content reward or whatever they're getting in lieu of sharing their email information or contact information is just not big enough, and they can choose to exit there. So 30 to 50% bounce is still acceptable for lead magnets and lead generation based pages. So going into the measuring of this particular metric, you have to understand that the nature of your content, the nature of your website, nature of your page is going to really affect how much bounce is likely, how much bounce is possible. So you need not get discouraged by a 70% bounce rate if you're just measuring it for your landing page, because that's what is the norm. But you need to obviously try and create innovative strategies to improve that whatever your bounce rate is, and try to bring it to the lower end so that your overall content performance improves. You can measure bounce rate easily on Google Analytics, and there are a number of paid and as well as free tools available there that can measure it for you. If you are hosting your website on a content management system like WordPress, even you can measure your bounce rate there as well. What happens in case of bounce rate getting measured is, however, that when a customer or user is on a single page and leaving from there itself, then that is captured as a bounce. And the analytics system is not able to capture how much time they spent on that particular page, unless that customer clicks on another page or a link and then move on to view another page. So if a customer is spending even 30 minutes, it's considered as a session, and leaving with, or let's say within the 29th minute is leaving after consuming whatever content you offered on that page, that is still captured as a bounce. So sometimes it can be a misleading indicator. You have to take it with a pinch of salt, and be prepared to still work on improving your content to bring it down. So that's about bounce rate. Next up, we'll talk about unique page visits and how it can be measured using basic analytics tools. Until then, thank you.